All right, it's a big topic. How old is considered too old to serve in Congress? Some very high-profile blunders and issues among elder lawmakers this week have reignited a debate on the age of our politicians, like this concerning moment during a press conference with Republican Minority Leader Mitch McConnell.
Been good bipartisan cooperation and a string of
So McConnell is 81 years old. His colleagues say that he is doing fine. They are calling this a bad day. Meanwhile, on the other side of the aisle, 90-year-old Democratic Senator Dianne Feinstein appeared to struggle during the voting in a committee hearing just yesterday.
It funds priorities submitted.
Yeah, just say aye.
Okay, just aye.
Thank you.
Okay, so it is important to note this current class of senators is the oldest we've ever had in U.S. history. I want to bring in our panel, Professor of Medicine at the University of California, San Francisco, Dr. Monica Gandhi, and board-certified family physician, Dr. Timothy Quinn. Doctors, it's good to see you both. Regardless of politics, we'll start with you, Dr. Quinn. Is there an age of concern past which the average person, the average American, would struggle to hold an office like this?
Well, what needs to be the concern is the person's ability to do his or her job. And what needs to be addressed or evaluated are more safeguards. Now, as far as in the legislation, Amendment 25, that's the protection or the safeguard. So if the president of the United States is unable or determined unable to serve, he can be removed. But for legislation other than the president, that safeguard is not there. But as a physician of 20 years, it varies from state to state, our safeguards, because decisions made by physicians, Congress people are very impactful that can affect, especially in the Congress and the Senate can affect millions of people. But in the Mississippi, we have a safeguard where if a physician is determined to be in question, he's evaluated by a panel, and if it's determined that he's not safe, he's removed. So the question is, are there enough safeguards in place to protect the people?
I mean, Dr. Gandhi, what do you think about this? We know McConnell is 81, Feinstein is 90 years old. I know each person is different, and there's no question about that. But what are the health concerns, especially cognitively, when a person reaches that part of their lives?
Yes, well, there are health concerns. I mean, people sort of, when they get older, it's just the truth. Like, there are health issues, there can be cognitive decline. And in the case of Senator McConnell, he did freeze. It almost looked like he was aphasic, couldn't speak, which can be any number of things. One worry would be a TIA or beginning of a stroke. And then the other would be that he had had a concussion after he fell earlier this year. And then Senator Feinstein was in the hospital for a very long time for a shingles episode, which is an infection, and it was on the side of her face. But that can be also really debilitating when you're older. So we just have to admit that like health issues occur. And I think that Dr. Quinn said something really smart, wise, which is that the decisions that senators make actually have policy implications for the rest of the country. And so they're very high profile and very important jobs. And when people get older, there are places in this world where they say, it's just you're too old to run for office or to be in charge of something this important. And I think it's okay to mention that and say that.
Thank you for watching. Go to newsnationnow.com to find NewsNation on your television provider. And don't forget to click the red subscribe button below to get more of NewsNation's fact-driven, unbiased coverage.